And there we are. Welcome. It is January. We are in it. We are in the new year. I'm still coughing. My cough is worse because whenever it gets cold and the heat goes on, I cough. So there you have it. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. So we started, oh, hang on, that's interesting. Bear with me, today's going to be technological day. I'm going to see if there are things get weird, because they have in the past. Okay, I'm back. So last week, we talked a little bit about the yogic way of looking at how we behave, how we live in the world. The 8 limbs of yoga that don't start with yoga postures or even breath or even meditation. They start with the ways that you interact with your community, with others, with your partners, your relationships, your friends, and how you take care of yourself in order to move forward and be your best self and be your best contributor to the community. So the yamas, the first limb of yoga, is those ways of behaving in relationship to others. And today we're going to focus on brahmacharya, which means non-excess. So not overindulging, not bringing in more and more and more. And I interpret this as being a sense of sacredness, so that those things that we have that are important to us are treasures, right? They're sacred. We don't need quantity when we have quality. And so we'll be talking about the experience of sacredness in your daily life and about that feeling of awe, that feeling of something greater than yourself. I often feel it in nature. So when we can't see or hear or feel through the overwhelm of these things in our world, the noise, the input, TikTok, Instagram, even music sometimes can be a lot. Does anybody remember a perfect album side when we used to listen to the whole album? And now everything is just, one-offs, scattershot, creating playlists. You might even not even listen to the whole song. We jump from thing to thing. And I think we're all seeking something more elemental, a sense of awe and wonder. I know many of you get my newsletter, and I'm an amateur photographer. I take all those pictures that I put in there, and I take them on my daily walks around my neighborhood. It requires that I use a discerning eye to notice, to see, and a sense of cultivating beginner's mind. In yoga, beginner's mind is this idea of looking at things with a sense of wonder, a sense of curiosity, as if you're seeing them for the first time and noticing everything about it. It helps to bring down the noise, draw us into focus. Awe is partly about focusing on the world outside of your head, says Dr. Virginia Sturm, who's an associate professor of neurology at UCSF. In our practice today, to counteract all the excess and overwhelm, let's use beginner's mind to notice the details in our meditations and poses, practicing the yama of brahmacharya. So take a moment to come into a comfortable seat for our opening meditation. For most of us, that means sitting up on something, maybe on a stool, maybe in a chair, maybe on a bolster or cushion. I like to use a meditation bench myself, and I'll show you what this looks like if I can get the camera. Can you see that? You sort of can. It's a little bench, and I kneel on the floor on my pad, and then my bottom goes onto the seat, and I can sit up really tall. My low back is comfortable. I love my meditation bench. Begin to notice what is present in your sensory environment. If your eyes are still open, look around your space. How's the light? The patterns and textures? What are you noticing? What draws your eye? Remember that idea of curious mind. What do you see first? Then once you've taken that in, take a soft gaze, an unfocused gaze, or close your eyes, beginning to turn your attention more deeply inward. Noticing maybe some sounds in your space and how they resonate inside your head. Can you identify sounds that are close by and some that are further away? Then begin to notice sensation. Maybe your feet on the ground, or your knees, or your bottom, your hands resting in your lap. Can you feel your clothing against your skin? Sometimes when we're in pain, sensation meditation can be difficult. So if something is hurting, or something is not working, or something is missing, focus on something that is feeling good, something that is present, something that is working. Soften in to what you feel, noticing with a childlike curiosity what's present for you today. As you inhale, sit up just a little taller, making some space. As you exhale, sit down just a little more solidly, grounding, connecting to the earth beneath you. Breathing between earth and sky. Let's stay for 5 breaths. And after your 5th exhale, release control of the breath, coming back into a comfortable, natural breath with some awareness, but not too much focus, right? Allow other things to come in. I'm going to scoot back here and sit up. I'm sitting now on my cushion, which gives me a little bit of height in my hips so that my knees can drop down. From here, let's move into our sun breaths. Inhale and allow the arms to float up on the breath. Exhale, turn palms down and softly release arms down. Move with your own breath speed and only go as high as your arms can go today. If something is not feeling good, then just move one arm. Beginning to connect movement and breath. And this or the next time that you inhale, reach up and then lower the right hand and come up and over with the left. If it's too much to extend through your arm, try bending your elbow. Maybe your hand comes behind your head, or even bring that hand onto your hip. We'll stay in the side bend for a couple of breaths, bringing the breath into this side body to stretch and extend and open from the inside out. On your next inhale, come up through center and over to the other side. And again, choose the right arm position for you on this side today. And we'll move side to side, move with your own breath. Stay for at least one inhale in place, one exhale, and then use the inhale to move. Can you stretch from the inside out like blowing up a balloon? Next time that you're coming over to the right, pause here. Let's circle the arm. Exhale and drop it down in front of you, and then inhale and let it float up and over. We'll do this just a few times. Bend your elbow if you need to. You can even do this just with your elbow. Make it yours. And in this next circle, find a place where you can reverse the direction. Inhale, open up. Exhale, release down. Just a few more. And this or the next time that you're inhaling, we'll come up and over to the other side and begin circles. Beautiful. And find a place to reverse direction. So each circle is a whole breath. I exhale down and inhale as I open. So take it nice and slow. One more. And then make your way up to sitting. Let's draw shoulders up towards the ears, squeeze, and then let them go. Let's do that 2 more times. Squeeze, shoulders up, and last time, squeeze, and let's inhale, arms at shoulder height, palms up. Bend your elbows and bring your fingertips to your shoulders. We're going to do some circles here. And again, each circle is a breath. So inhale as you come up and exhale as you go down. Really feel the movement of your shoulder blades, if your shoulder blades are lucky enough to be moving. As you circle, let's reverse direction. Little backstroke action here. Let's reverse again, and this time we'll go one at a time. So we're doing a little kind of infinity arms. Yeah, it's beautiful. And reverse again, one at a time. And it does, I'm speeding up a little bit. I see that. Feels good to me. And release and shake out your arms, shake out your shoulders, let it all go. And we'll move into tabletop position, hands and knees. Make sure that you have something underneath your knees so that you are comfortable. Now, if being on hands and knees is not ever going to be comfortable, then you can feel free to lie on your back. If you use blocks, if you have them, and I do highly recommend them, go ahead and grab them and bring them with you. I'm going to scoot back here. And I use this little piece of mat as my padding for my knee. So finding your way into tabletop, hands and knees. If it's not comfortable to have your wrists in this position, then make fists and let your thumbs point straight ahead. That straightens out your wrist. That may or may not be comfortable. You can always come down onto forearms and even on blocks. So finding your position with your hand or elbow or knuckles underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. If you feel cramping in your feet, you can put something like a little pillow or a rolled up blanket underneath your ankles to take out a little bit of that pointing. That can feel better. Find your long spine here, reaching crown and tailbone in opposite directions. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw the belly in and up. 2 more like that. Inhale, lengthen. You're not seeing a whole lot of movement because it's just happening with the breath. Exhale, draw the belly in. And last time. We'll move from here into cat and cow. As you inhale, lift your tail as if you have one, right? Soften your belly. Lift your chest, shining it forward. Reach through the crown of the head. Try to resist the urge to lift your head. Keep your head in line so your neck is in line. As you exhale, curl your tail first. Draw your belly up and then release through your neck. Inhale, lift the tail first, soften the belly, open the heart, reach through the crown. Exhale, tuck, press the floor away and open between your shoulder blades and continue moving through cat and cow, working with your breath speed. Take your time. If you're lying on your back, you may have knees bent and you're working with a pelvic tilt. You can do the seated as well. And the next time that you come through neutral, pause there. Let's extend the left leg behind with toes curled under. Press back and stretch through the foot and ankle. And then staying right here, or inhale and lift that leg just to hip height, right? So it's not up here. We're not letting the hip open. We're keeping hip points, your knee and your toes all pointing down towards the mat. Requires a lot of strength in the core to stay nice and stable. Stay right here, or you might try adding a reach of the opposite arm. Reach through your heel and through your fingertips for 3 and 2 and 1, and then come back and walk your knees out. Let your toes stay close together. Soften your hips towards your heels and let your head come down. Maybe you start on your forearms. If you have a block, you could bring it between your hands and let your head rest. Or you can stack your fists or your hands, or release your head all the way down. We'll take 3 nice big breaths in child's pose. Big inhale, feel an expansion in your back body. Exhale and soften into the pose. 2 more breaths. Let go with a sigh. Last one. And let it go. On your inhale, make your way back to your tabletop. Bring your knees back in so they're underneath your hips. And this time we'll extend the right leg, toes down first. Press back and get a nice full stretch. Stay here or inhale and lift the leg just to hip height. Keep your belly engaged. Maybe you add the reach of the opposite arm. Reaching long, heel to fingertips for 3 and 2 and 1. Hand and knee back down. Let's just wiggle it out. And now grab your blocks if you have them handy. And we're going to work with some knee down lunge. So step that left foot forward. You can use your hand to help and bring it so that your knee is over your ankle. You can stay right here or walk one or both hands up on to your knee so you could come up nice and upright. In this position, think about tucking your pelvis underneath you. So you're opening the front of that standing leg, the front of the hip, and lengthening through the spine. Beautiful. Stay here or add one or both arms. Inhale, open, and exhale, lower hands to blocks. Curl your back toes under and press back, straightening the leg, coming into a high lunge. You can always keep your knee down if that's better. Pressing back through your heel, keep that knee over the ankle as best you can. And then release the knee back down, and we'll switch sides. Step the right foot forward, noticing with that sense of wonder if one side is different because of your history or your biology. Establish your low lunge and then begin to walk yourself up. Again, think of dropping the pelvis here, opening the front of that hip, and add one or both arms. Reach and exhale, hands to blocks, curl back toes under, press back, find your high lunge. In this position, your left hip comes forward, your right hip goes back. Knee over the ankle. From here, we're going to step the back foot up to meet the front. You can take as many steps as you need to, and then hands to knees, walk yourself all the way up to standing. Beautiful. We're going to work with what is known in Yoga for Cancer as step backs. And in order to do those comfortably, we're going to set up with our blocks to make sure that we have enough support. Now, if you don't have blocks, you can use thick cushions like couch cushions. You can use big fat paper towel rolls, cans, although cans I think might fall on your feet. Maybe books. Someone said DVD boxes wrapped up. So I like to have at least one set of blocks and maybe two. So for our step backs, we're going to bring our blocks to the outside of our feet and stand up nice and tall. We're going to come from here into what is known as chair pose. You can keep your hands on your thighs, begin to sit back, reaching back through your tailbone and keeping a long spine, so your knees have to bend. Think of chest shining forward, crown reaching. Now, once you get here, can you comfortably reach your blocks? If the answer is no, then walk yourself back up. And if you have an extra set of blocks or something that's a little taller than what you were using, bring those down. These are kind of unusual blocks, but they'll work for this purpose. So I'm going to lie these down flat and then bring my regular blocks up on top. So you see how that just gives me a taller block surface. So come on up to stand. And once more, we'll go into our chair pose. Hands on your thighs, begin to sit back as if there's a chair behind you that's a little far away. So knees are bending, spine is long, chest open, crown reaching, and now see if you can comfortably grab your blocks. And if the answer is yes, then hooray, and let's come back up. You can go as high as 2 stacked blocks that are flat and then 1 tall. If you go beyond that, and who has that many blocks? But if you go beyond that, if you're in a yoga studio, it can be a little too teeter-tottery. So now you'll see why we've gone through this exercise. It's called a block tower check. Okay. So standing between your block assemblage or whatever you're using for support. Let's inhale and reach up. As you exhale, lower your hands to your thighs and sit back into that chair pose. Reach your hands for your blocks. Step back with your left leg into that high lunge position we came into just a few moments ago. In this position, you're on the ball of your back foot, reaching your heel away. Your front knee is bent and right over your ankle, and your hips are pointing straight ahead. Spine is long, neck is long, crown is reaching. We're going to step the back foot up to meet the front. And inhale, come all the way back up. Are you with me? Everybody looks good. Okay, inhale up. Exhale through your chair pose, hands on your knees for support, hands to your blocks if you're using them. Step back with your right foot. Press the right hip forward, the left hip back so that both hips are pointing straight ahead. Press back through your heel. If you feel any pain behind your knee, keep it just a little bit bent. One more breath. And then step back foot up to meet front and inhale all the way up. Beautiful. We're on our way. Okay, we're going to use this one more sequence and then we'll move on. But we will come back to this. So if you don't have blocks and you enjoy this class or other yoga classes and it's not out of reach, get yourself some blocks, at least 2 sets. And I prefer the rubber blocks because they're not too heavy. Amazon has them, Target has them, lots of stores. Okay, find your mountain pose, standing up nice and tall. Inhale and reach. Exhale, begin to sit back. Hands can come to thighs for support. Reach for your blocks. Step the left foot back, finding your high lunge. Now from here, you can stay right here or bring your hands to your knee and come up a little bit. Stay here or come all the way up with one or both arms, coming into our warrior one pose. Beautiful job. See, my back knee is a little bit bent, so I'm not overextending through my knee. Pressing my heel back behind me, hips are facing forward. Exhale and hands come down to blocks. Step back foot up and inhale all the way up. Let's go right back down. Exhale, hands to knees for support. Find your blocks. You see how we come through this chair position to find our blocks. Step back with the right leg. You can stay right here in your high lunge or walk your hands to your knee or up all the way, coming into warrior one. Yes, this is a balance pose. Make sure your feet are railroad tracks, not balance beam, right? So Make sure they're distant, hip distance apart. One more breath here, and exhale. Hands to blocks, step back, foot up, and walk all the way up. Phew, that was a lot. We've done a lot of this before, but if you're new, then this will be new for you. And I hope that you will move slowly and only do things that feel good in your body. It doesn't mean it's not challenging, but nothing that hurts. If it hurts, don't do it. Back up, do the thing before, do something you like. Okay, standing up nice and tall. Bring your hands to your hips. And let's rock a little bit front and back. Come to a place where you feel balanced on your feet between the balls of the feet and the heels. Pause in that center space and then rock a little from side to side. And come back to center. Can you circle your hips just a little bit? You can bend your knees. And circle the other way. Come back through center and stand up nice and tall. Inhale, reach up. Let your palms come together. If it's overhead, that's great. If it's in front, that's perfect. Exhale and draw hands to heart center. Do that 2 more times. Pause here. Take a moment to look ahead of you and find a focal point or drishti, something on your horizon line or down towards the ground that is not a moving point. We are moving into our tree pose, our balance pose. So if you know you need additional support, please take it now. You can put a hand on the wall. If you have a sturdy piece of furniture, you can use that as well. Standing up nice and tall, eyes on your focal point. Find your mountain pose first, where you feel nice and sturdy and stable. And then ever so slightly shift your weight into your left leg and release the right. Bend your knee, maybe you lift the foot up. We'll turn out right from the hip and then place the foot either down at the ankle, you can rest your ball of your foot on the ground, or at your calf, or all the way up above your knee at your thigh. Just don't press into the knee. Feel that connection of your foot to your leg to your foot. If balance is squirrely today, feel free to come in and out as you need to, or take additional support. Feel the energy from the ground, that feedback below you, and draw it all the way up through your center, through heart center, and maybe open branches. Balance is wobbly for me today. So stay with the wobbles, but don't be unsafe. Make sure that you have support. And when you're ready, release and come back to your starting position. You can walk in place, releasing. Childlike curiosity. No assumptions. Stay safe, but be curious. Find your mountain pose. Shift the weight into the right leg. Try not to pop the hip. Stay nice and up over your leg. Release the left leg up, turn it out, and find your foot position on this side, above or below the knee. Foot to leg to foot, eyes on your focal point. Make sure breath is flowing. Imagine you're drawing your energy from your roots all the way up through the center of your tree, maybe opening up the canopy. 2 more breaths. And exhale, come through center, walk it out, and then come to stillness once again. If it's comfortable for you, allow your eyes to close softly. Make sure you're stable and safe. And notice what it's like to find your balance from the inside out without that visual reference point. And release. Shake out hands, arms, legs, fingers. Walk out a little bit wider on your mat, and let's take a gentle twist. Letting your arms flow. Be soft in the hips. Get some air. Right? And then slowly, slowly let the twisting end and come to stillness. Walk your feet back in. Now, if you're working with your block tower, if you have blocks, you can use them to come down to the ground. So stepping between your blocks, or find another easy and comfortable way. Come through that same position, hands to blocks. You can step back and slowly lower one knee and then the other. Bring your feet to one side and your hips come down. We're going to come all the way down onto our bellies today. So if that's not a comfortable position for you, then go ahead and lie on your back. Otherwise, make your way carefully onto your belly with your forearms, your elbows on the mat. If this is too much for your low back or your neck, walk your hands further forward. You can always put a pillow underneath your abdomen. We're not going to stay too long. So in this position, again, try not to crank your head, right? Keep the curve of the neck and the head in keeping with the rest of the spine. Once you're here, see if you can gently kick your legs as if you're trying to kick your bottom. Just a couple of times. And then come to stillness. Now, this next move is a little bit subtle. I'm going to twist and look over one shoulder. Come through center and twist, looking over the other shoulder. Come back through center, and we'll do one more time to each side, noticing where you feel this. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's pretty dramatic. Back through center and to the other side. And back through center. We're going to flip over onto our backs. Take your time and gently roll onto your back. I used to take this yoga class where we would literally flip like a pancake. I couldn't do it, but some people could, like flip over. Amazing. Okay, lying on your back with your knees bent, feet on the floor close to your body, knees and feet about hip distance apart. Bring your arms down at your sides with your palms down. Take a moment here to settle, noticing the parts that are heavily in contact with the ground. For me, it's my feet, my hips, my shoulders, my elbows, hands, and the back of my head. We'll move into a lying down cat-cow, which is a pelvic tilt. So inhaling in place, exhale, and then tuck your pelvis as if your tail was tucking under you if you were upside down. And then as you inhale, release that tuck and let the natural curve of the low back reestablish. Exhale, tuck, pressing the top of the pelvis down, flattening your low back. Inhale, and imagine the tailbone moving towards the floor, creating that exaggerated lumbar spine. Take your time and move slowly through your pelvic tuck, pelvic tilt. Beautiful. I know this is also seemingly very simple, but it's pretty profound. Find the awe in this pose. And then when you're ready, hug your knees in, one knee towards each shoulder, or if you can bring them in through the center, that's comfortable. Some people can hug their shins or hug behind their thighs. And for others, it's good to have one hand on each knee. Take a moment, yes, rocking side to side, maybe extending one leg and then the other, like a bicycle. And then come back to hugging both knees in. Hold on to your right knee and let your left foot come down to the mat. You can stay right here, or if it would be comfortable, you can slide that left foot out, lengthening. Keep hugging the knee in on the right and extend on the left. You can stay right here or try hovering the extended leg. Reach out through your heel. And again, stay right here, or last adjustment as you exhale, lift as if you were bringing your nose towards your knee. Hugging in for 3, 2, 1, and then release everything down. And when you're ready, slowly hug both knees in again, rock and rock. Holding on to the left knee, bring the right foot to the floor. This can be your pose right here because you're working on that flexibility and opening. If you have the space, extend your right leg long, keeping left knee in, right leg extends long. Feeling that juxtaposition. Stay right here or hover that extended leg. Stay there or nose to knee. Squeeze in for 3 and 2 and 1. Release everything down. You can bounce your knees, bend your knees back up and shift them a little from side to side. And then once again, hug both knees in and rock. Now, you can do any of the things that we just did, hugging one knee and bringing one foot down, extending, or you can work with this bicycle action. So extend your left leg. Maybe you draw your nose towards your right knee and switch. And switch. If this is too much on your head and neck, let your head stay down and just do the legs. If it's too much on your low back, then keep the feet down. We have options. What will serve you for another 6 breaths? working to both sides in a way that serves you. And when you're completed, release your head down, let it roll a little from side to side, especially if you lifted your head. We don't want to bring any neck tension into the rest of our day. Let your arms be down at your sides, palms down, knees bent. And on your next inhale, press into your feet and slowly lift your hips an inch or more off the mat. Exhale and drop them down. Inhale, press and lift. Exhale down. You can stay with this or add some arm movement. As you inhale, allow your arms to float overhead. Oops, my block in the way. As you exhale, arms float down. Inhale, lift hips or hips and arms. Maybe you leave your arms where they are and slowly lower the hips on your exhale. Inhale, lift the hips. And exhale, lower hips and arms. 3 more breaths wherever you'd like to work. And then end with knees hugging in. Now we'll take the next 3 minutes or so to complete your practice. Maybe you'd like some twist, some happy baby. I see knees hugging in. I see happy baby. What do you need to complete your practice? Take another minute or two. If you're working to one side, make sure you work to the other side as well. And as you complete your practice, noticing with curiosity what your body is asking for, and then make your way into your position for Shavasana, resting pose. For some of you, that will be lying down with your knees over a pillow, maybe a pillow under your head. For some, you might lie flat on your back or on your side. You can take your final resting seated if you prefer. Take your time and find your position for Shavasana. And once you reach it, release the practice. Sometimes we hold on to things that have happened before. Release what happens after class as well. And allow yourself to be fully present in this moment with your body and breath. Softening and letting go with each exhale, sinking a little bit more into the supports beneath you. With each inhale, wherever you are, lengthen your spine. Reaching the crown of the head, either up towards the sky or out along the floor. Exhale and release, letting go a little bit more. Begin to imagine that you can breathe right from the center of your heart. With each inhale, imagine this heart center lighting up. With each exhale, the light of your heart center gets released into the room. With each inhale, the light at heart center grows bigger and brighter. With each exhale, you're able to send it out further and further, filling up first with the energy of the heart, and then sending it out to support your loved ones, your community, and people not so close. Stay with this imagery as long as it's interesting, and then release and let go, resting. can't help myself. I always feel hopeful. Let's start again. I can't help myself. I always feel hopeful at dawn. Watching the world choose light over dark and waking over sleep, I just can't stay grouchy. Of course, the night sky has its delights too. When Orion's broad shoulders catch my eye, and it appears he's striding into his life with such sparkling fearlessness, I want to cheer him on. What you have is the unassailable certainty of wonder. What you have is the wide-eyed gaze of a child looking up and asking, "Do you think I can touch those stars?" Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes. When you feel ready, roll to one side and pause. And then press into your hands to slowly make your way up to sitting, allowing your attention to stay deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community we create when we practice together. If you'd like to join, bringing hands to heart center, we'll inhale together. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Jai Bhagwan. May the light in you be victorious. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with each other.